Hey folks, hope you're all doing well and welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to do a quick little review of the most recent album by one of my favorite bands, Extreme. The album is Six. It came out last Friday. I've been listening to it a bunch. Now I don't own a physical copy of it. I've been listening to it on streaming services. Well, I'll let you know at the end whether or not it's worth purchasing. But anyway, these are my thoughts on the record. I've listened to it probably like three times at this point. Um, Initially, my thoughts are the album is really, really good. And why I say that is it's got a good mix of material. There's some bangers in there. There's some beautiful acoustic songs in there. They do go off the beaten track a little bit. You know, they do some kind of alternative sounding songs, and then they get into a little bit of Nine Inch Nails territory for the one track. But all in all, it's a pretty consistent record. Most of the songs I would say are either good or great. There's a couple that are okay. Maybe they need to grow on me a little bit more. But for the most part, I would say it's a really really good record. I know everybody now, you know, Nuno's showing up on all these covers of Guitar Player magazines and so on. And yeah, you know, he's playing some killer solos on this, but I mean, it's more than Nuno's guitar solos. Not that they're bad, but the playing overall on this is great. I like the production on this record. It's very forward. It's very in your face. Um, if I was to criticize anything that I find about the production, it would be the drums. The drums don't seem to have a lot of bottom to them. You know, they're very snappy, kind of in your face, but I'm not a producer. I mean, you know, maybe that fits sort of the better, sound of the tracks overall. But everything is very, very well placed. I mean, the vocals, nothing is crowding on anything else. It's everything is very clear. The guitars, the vocals, the bass you can hear clearly. It's just, again, as I mentioned, the drums just don't have a lot of bottom. They're very snappy. But I mean, that's minor. Overall, the production I think on this record is pretty good. Um, so you know what I think I'll do here is I'll just go, maybe through track to track, just talk a little bit about each track, and then kind of summarize at the end. So I've got the track listing here in front of me. Um, so for the first track, Rise, that's a song, that first single that came out. It's a pretty good song, heavy riff. This is a song that sort of got all the attention for Nuno's solo on it because it's kind of an isolated piece, kind of away from the song, and then the song kind of comes in. It's a pretty good song. It's a good opener in the sense that it's kind of up tempo, it's driving. I don't want to go on about the Nuno solo because everybody's talking about it. Yeah, it's really, really cool, but it's a decent song. It's not definitely not the best song on this record, but it is a very good song, and it is a really good opener. Rebel, hashtag Rebel, is a little. I think it's a little bit better of a tune. You know, it's another hard driving song, but I noticed about their hard driving songs is that Nuno's really changing up his tone from song to song. So, you have still an upbeat song, but it's not the same guitar tone. It's a little bit different. The solo on Rebel is extremely raw. I read, or I've seen in interviews, talking about his guitar, no effects, straight into the amp. And, that song in particular really, really shows that. The one thing I'll mention about Nuno's solos on this and Rise and others is that he always sounds like he's just almost going to come off the rails. You know what I mean? There's that sort of danger component that you think, oh man, he's going crazy and he's going to lose the thread, but he manages to stay in his lane at the end of it. But they're always all kind of dangerous. Very reminiscent to like some of Eddie Van Halen's solos, which I know was one of his big influences. But Rebel's a great song. Banshee's got another really cool riff. Again, another different guitar tone. The tones On those latter songs are kind of not so much 80s. I'm hearing kind of more of a 90s kind of vibe to those tones. Um, but Banshee's a another great song. I love the vocal from Gary on that. I don't know, when I'm reading reviews about the record, and other places and so on. I don't know, the people have a problem with Gary's vocals. I mean, the guy is like spot on. He's a chameleon in terms of like he can sing the heavy stuff, he can sing the light stuff. He's got incredible range, and he's got really, really good control. I think he's a phenomenal singer. I don't know where people are having a hard time with Gary as a singer, and some people don't like the. I've read, people don't like the band because of Gary's vocals. I think his vocals are fantastic, and he nails it on that. Now, what's one thing that's beautiful about this record is the running order. They hit you with three bangers, but then you get Other Side of the Rainbow, which is an acoustic song. It was the last single video that they released before the album came out. This is an absolutely beautiful song. It's a beautiful acoustic song. It's hooky as hell. I should mention that all of these songs thus far have some really great, I mean, apart from the guitar playing, really great, hooks in the chorus. And this one is fantastic. It's just, Nuno playing acoustic. It's a nice change up. You get the three bangers and you get the acoustic song, and your ear is ready to hear something different. And man, they really plan it with this acoustic song. I think it's one of the best tracks on the record. Of the heavier songs, I kind of lean not so much to Rise, but I kind of lean a little more towards Rebel and Banshee. I think they're a little better tunes for me anyway. Small Town Beautiful kind of follows along the same kind of path, another acoustic song as Other Side of the Rainbow, another really, really beautiful ballad with some, incredible. I mean, the harmonies that, between Nuno and Gary and Pat are just really beautiful. And Small Town Beautiful is it's just a beautiful song. I mean, it's great. Nice acoustic song. Very, very cool. And a nice departure again from all the heavy bangers. Then they get into The Mask. The Mask, it's not a bad tune. It's an okay tune. For me, I find that it kind of doesn't song quality. It doesn't quite match up with the songs before it. I mean, the songs before it are so good that it's kind of hard to keep up to that level. Not that The Mask is a terrible song. It's okay, but it's one of the okayer songs for me. Not a bad song, but I mean, once you listen to the opening tracks and you hear that one, that's I think a little bit of a step down. Um, but then they recover with Thicker Than Blood, which may probably eventually end up being my favorite song. It's a little bit of there's an effect that it sounds like a keyboard guitar thing. There might be an effect on the guitar. I'm not sure, but it's got a really funky kind of feel to it. It's a little bit heavy. Um, it's just a really good rocker. And again, you've listened to the metal stuff. The Mask is a little heavy. It's a heavy tune, and then you know, Thicker Than Blood kind of like stamps that again. I really like Thicker Than Blood. I think it's a really, really cool tune, and it's a departure again. It's a heavier song, but again, it's got that effect on the guitar that sounds really, really cool, and it's kind of really, really. It's got a bit of a funk to it. There's really not a lot of funky grooves on this record like some of their previous records, but Thicker Than Blood is probably the closest thing to the sort of that funk groove that they've had in previous records. But I really, really dig that track. Save Me, I think, is a fantastic song. It's got again, another heavier song with a super hooky chorus. I mean, that's a thing, right? It's great songs with hooky choruses, and then the lead breaks. I mean, I don't want to go on and on about Nuno. I'll put it in the links. I just did a video about Nuno, and I'll put that in the links. I'm doing a series, my 25 favorite guitar players, and Nuno was in there. I'll put the link below. But anyways, but the mask, or not the mask, sorry, Save Me is a pretty good song. Kind of like, Thicker Than Blood, Save Me, they're both kind of up there and they're really, really cool. Um, and then they do Hurricane, which is really, really Beatly, I find. Of their acoustic songs, like that's sort of the really most low key kind of acoustic song. I think it's, I hear a lot of Beatles in that. I might argue that Hurricane of the acoustic songs might be the best of their acoustic songs. It's just, the acoustic playing on that, the chord progression, the harmonies. It's just a really, really beautiful, beautiful song. And these guys, of course, I mean, they made their bones with more than words, so they're, that's, part of their arsenal. And man, that song is just absolutely gorgeous. I love Hurricane. That's another one of my favorites. And then they do X Out. Now X Out, it's 9 Inch Nails kind of thing to it. It's okay. It's another one of the okay. There's a couple of okay songs on here. This is the other one of the okay songs, and it's like, man, 9 Inch Nails. Maybe it'll grow on me over time. I've listened to the record about 3 times over time, so maybe it'll sink in a little bit more. But it's not a horrible song. It's an okay song, but it's just it kind of like it seems a little bit outside the lane of the rest of the stuff that they're doing. I mean, Thick as Blood, there there's that keyboardy kind of effect, but X Out is pretty much like 9 Inch Nails heavy keyboard song. And I don't know, maybe it'll grow on me over time, I don't know, but that's, for me, that's one of the weaker songs. Beautiful Girls, man, that's, what, that's should be on the radio, summertime, windows rolled down. It's one of those just really cool feel good songs. It's a complete departure to everything else that's on the record, but it's not an unwelcome departure. It's very, very cool. It's catchy as hell. It's got a nice feel, a nice groove to it. It's the kind of song you want to hear when you're, sitting by the pool, having a drink, or a cigar in my case, right? Just a really, really cool song. I love Beautiful Girls. Here's to the Losers. Um, Another kind of mellower song. It's pretty cool. It's not on the same level as Hurricane or Small Town Beautiful, but it's not a bad song. For me, as a closer, running order for me is a big deal because I like listening to albums top to bottom, and I don't want to hear a lot of the same. For me, running order wise, I would have put Beautiful Girls as the ending track because it's a happy song, kind of, leaves you, after listening to the record with a real positive, good vibe. Here's to the Losers, I think, should have been like track number 11, but it's not a bad song. It's not a bad song. So, I mean, out of the 12 cuts that are on here, I would say they're either good or great. There's a couple of okay tunes, but I mean, that's pretty damn good, and for the fact that it's their first record in 15 years, one thing I really get from this record is that these guys are right now, songwriting and performance wise, these guys are really hitting on all cylinders. And there's not a lot of bands of the 90s or late 80s that are kind of out there, that are doing it and doing it at this level and still putting out really, really good music. um, this record, if you're an extreme fan, this is a no-brainer. If you're an occasional fan, I think this is something you really, really want to check out. It's a damn good record. I mean, again, I got maybe two OKs out of 12. Like, that's pretty damn good. That's a pretty good ratio. So, anyways, those are my thoughts on the record. Go check it out. I haven't bought the physical copy because I wanted to kind of listen to it streamwise, but this would definitely be a record that I would go out and I would go get that CD. I mean, it's worth it. It's something you can pop in the car and you can listen to, track after track. I mean, there's enough good stuff on this that it's well worth it. So that's my review of the Extreme Record 6. If you like what you see, please hit the thumbs up. Please consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll catch you soon. Cheers.